Okay, instructional technology scholars, it's time to start getting googly. So Google is one of my favorite awesome tools to use. It's a great way to save files as well as share files with both your colleagues as well as students. So we're going to get started today with some Google fundamentals, some basics, and talk about how to create and edit folders. So let's go over to my drive so I can show you what it looks like. Okay, so the first thing to really understand when we're using Google is to make sure that we're using our Chrome browser. So if you're using Internet Explorer, it's best to switch over to your Chrome browser because Google and Internet Explorer don't really get along so well. So you might see that things aren't functioning correctly, or it might look kind of funky, or just act really slow, or not be able to load at all. So it's best to use your Chrome browser when you are getting googly. All right, so you can see here that I'm in my Chrome browser and I'm just at google.com. And in order to access my drive, I need to sign in. So that's over here in the top right corner. Okay. Now, of course, because I'm super googly, I have been signed in on this computer before, and so it has saved my password. But you can notice here the setup of your username. So you have your same username as well as this fcpsschools.net. This password is going to be the same password as all your other passwords. So go ahead and click sign in after you put in your password. And now you can see that I'm signed in. So up here you see my photo as well as my username. So it's showing that I am signed in. And now you can access all of your Google Drive and Google Apps. So if you go up here to these squares, click on it, and then we're going to click down to Drive. And we'll go over to see my Google Drive. So here in my Google Drive, you can see all of my files as well as my folders. And you notice here, we're still on a web page. We're still using our Chrome browser. So what's really great about this is that you don't have to worry about VPNing. You don't have to worry about remembering to save everything to your H drive or to your desktop or your hard drive. Everything is right here. And that's great for a number of reasons, in that it won't matter what machine you're using. It won't matter if you're in the building or if you're VPNing. Any machine you use, anywhere that has Wi-Fi, you can access all of these files. So it's a really great tool to use. Okay, so a really great time to use Google Drive and Google Folders is when you're collaborating with other people. So coming up, we're going to have those academic advising conversations with students, where students are kind of choosing what is going to be the best classes for them to take next year. So what's great about this is that each department can have folders where you're able to share different maybe example lessons or example assignments that are going to give the student a good idea of what will be the best course for them to take. Okay, so this folder that I set up called Academic Advising, this will be shared with you, or you'll receive a link to it, and you'll be able to add things about your course into these folders. So let's take a look at how that would go by looking at the social studies folder. Okay, so let's suppose that I am a social studies teacher, okay? And here in the social studies folder, we need to create more folders that talk about the different courses available for a student to take within social studies. Okay, so I've gone to my academic advising folder, and then I'm going to go specifically to my department folder, and now I want to create new folders about these different individual classes. So now that I'm here, I'm going to click New. And now let's create a folder that's going to have all the resources about the different government options. So we're going to call this folder US VA Government. All right, and click Create. All right, and now I'm going to have a folder for that content, and I can continue on with the different contents within social studies. Okay, so I can do another new. We can call it World History 2. Another new one. We'll call this World History 1. All right, and so on. So now that I have these subfolders within this folder, I can add even more folders. So let's, for example, go into US and Virginia Government. Now, once a student and teacher is here, right? So let's say a student is talking about, well, I'm not sure which social studies class I want to take next year. I know I'm a senior, so I have to take government, but I don't know which one. So now they can be in this folder and they can look at the different options. So to do that, we can create even more folders. So let's again create new. Okay. And we'll call this one US Virginia Government, just your regular old government. Okay. We can add another one for US Government AP. All right. And so on. And so now, if I'm a teacher who is in teaching just regular old US VA government, I'm going to open that folder And now here is where I want to add some files for the student and teacher to see so they can make that good decision. So now that I'm in this folder, I'm going to create new. And now here is where I can add things like a syllabus. I could add a sample assignment. I could add a sample lesson, maybe a PowerPoint presentation, whatever it is that's going to give the student a good idea about what this class is like, the topics that are studied, and what the workload looks like. Okay, so now that I'm in this folder, I click new again, and now I can upload a file. Right, so I might pick a file that is in my documents, perhaps my syllabus. Okay, I can also drag a file here, right? Or if you have these files already in your Google Drive, you can just go to this little arrow right here, go to your folder where those files already are, and then you can just simply drag them over here so that they will appear in this folder. Okay, now everybody who has access to this folder, this academic advising folder, will then have access to the social studies folder, which will then have access to the USVA government folder, and then we can see those different contents within USVA government. All right, so you're able to talk with your students and kind of show them what these different classes are about, even if you don't teach them yourself. All right, so it's a great way to have those conversations and a great way to have that connection with every other teacher in the building. All right, so that's how you would add a folder, and that's how you could add files to that folder to share with everybody else. All right, now let's also talk about sharing these folders, okay? So because all of these folders, right, the US Virginia Government folder as well as the Social Studies folder is within this larger folder for academic advising, that means everybody who has access to this folder has access to view all the other folders within this folder, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone needs to edit every single folder, all right? You only need to be able to upload your files and, example lessons into the content in which you teach. Okay, so if you need to share one of these folders, let's say you're going to share this USVA government folder with everybody else who teaches government, you're going to go up here to this drop down menu and you're going to click share. Now, to share this folder, you're going to start entering names or email addresses of your colleagues that you want to share it with. I'm not going to enter any because it's going to recognize names and it's going to show you maybe student names or other people in the county. So I'm not going to put that out there on YouTube. But just know that you can put here any name. All right. And then once that's there, click on this little pencil to the side, and now you can choose that person to be able to organize or edit. Okay, and then after that, you would click done, and now those colleagues of yours would be able to edit and add to those different folders. All right, so now you are a Google Scholar in sharing, uploading, and organizing files in your Google Drive.